Welcome to a mother's journey to holistic health and healing. I'm your host, Marissa Prieto. I'm so grateful to be here, and I want to thank you so much for being here and listening today, as this is a very special day for me. It is episode 1, the very first episode of this podcast. For today, I'm going to share a little bit about myself, about my story, and why I started this podcast in the first place. It's been about 2 years in the making an idea. Lots of changes, lots of ideas and shifts. And finally I realized, and it came to me, why I wanted to start this podcast and what it was going to be about and what I wanted to share with you. So, to begin, my name is Marissa Prieto. I have been raised and born in El Paso, Texas. I have an older sister and married to my high school sweetheart. We have an amazing 6-year-old son. He is funny, sweet. He's so into bugs and reptiles and dinosaurs and just wants to learn all about nature and animals. We also have twin baby girls that will soon be turning 1 at the end of this month. So I've got my hands full and my heart full. It's been a blessing because these 3 babies are also my rainbow babies. Having had 3 pregnancy losses, they are truly our blessings, our greatest blessings. In addition, I'm also a registered dietitian. I like to practice from a holistic point of view, a weight-neutral point of view. Also a health coach. I've practiced as a registered dietitian for 12 years. And most recently, up until about 4 to 5 years ago, is when I really started taking a holistic approach into practice, not only into my own personal life, but into my practice as well. And also, I am a Reiki Level 1 certified and currently actively and imperfectly pursuing my yoga teacher training certification as well. My journey really started when I started taking a holistic, a whole person approach to health. That my healing journey and just really working on myself as a whole, really things started to shift and change within myself and realizing how important this was and working alongside with patients and clients as well. I think that, especially as becoming a mom, that's when it becomes difficult and challenging, right? Is when it comes to managing our health and wellness, is we're navigating through motherhood and all these changes in our body, adapting to change, tending to our little ones, all this change that we're also trying to take care of ourselves, and it becomes a lot. It can be a lot, it can be overwhelming, it can be exhausting. And sometimes we can often neglect ourselves because, we're taking care of our babies. And that's what I wanted this podcast to be about, is especially as we change, as we age, and things change through motherhood, our habits might kind of shift too as well. So it's about helping you to reconnect with maybe some healthy habits that you had in the past that you like to get back to, or maybe some new ones, new habits. Give you tools, things to help you continue to build healthy habits that are going to be sustainable for the long term or for that current season of life that you're in. And also at the same time, maybe even setting up an example for your children as well, right? So that way they're also seeing your healthy habits. You're modeling to them and passing them on to them as well. So that as they get older, they are growing with healthy habits too. And it also wanted to be a space to help increase your self-awareness as well, in becoming more aware of maybe your current habits. Thinking about maybe what are some habits you'd like to change, patterns that are not serving you, that you need to let go of or maybe improve on. Holding space to see that as we age, as our children's age, the seasons will change and we will change. So there might be some changes within our health and well-being, those goals. They might need to change and shift over time as well because you're a different person. You might be a different person as opposed to where you were before you had kids. And I don't think that we take that into account. We're thinking about maybe how we looked before we had children and where we're at in our current moment and then in the future, right? Things are always shifting and changing, and that's how it's meant to be. But sometimes we don't often make changes to help us adapt and to smooth into those transitions of change, those seasons of change that we're currently in. So maybe, like I said, you might need to let go of a way of thinking or a certain goal or pattern that doesn't quite align or resonate with a future goal or the person, your highest or healthiest self than maybe you were before a mom, like trying to let go of comparison. And I encourage you to have an open mind, maybe even show a little self-compassion towards yourself as you're going through all these changes and seasons of life, and that it's okay. And an open heart, an open mind and an open heart can definitely be helpful as you navigate through all these seasons of change and finding what works for you important, because we're not going to always find what works right away, right? It takes some trial and error. We'll have to fail until we find something that actually works, and that's okay. It's okay if they keep changing. As long as we kind of try to find healthy habits that work, especially through those seasons of life, that current season you're in, to help you feel better. So if your goal as a busy mom is to have more energy and feel better, manage stress in a healthy way, be more present in your day-to-day, take time to do things that light you up, bring you joy, not feel guilty about it, and have the skills and confidence to take care of your health and well-being for what you need in that moment in time. And this is where the 4 bodies of health come in, because our health is more than just physical. There is a lot of emphasis in our physical body, our physical health. There's also our mental body, our emotional body, and our spiritual body, which all make up our 4 bodies of health, which is taking a whole person approach to health. We're not just focusing on one symptom or one area of health. Everything is connected. It's the mind, it's the body, and the spirit, or if you want to call it your soul, all make up you as a being. And so if we're only tending to the physical body and not so much of the other bodies of health, there can be gaps, there can be imbalances, and they manifest in different ways, which we'll go throughout the podcast. But these are all topics and all areas of your health that impact you, whether we realize it or not. So on the podcast, we're going to be talking about all kinds of topics around, nutrition, navigating how to manage stress, mindset, body image, finding movement in ways that work for you that you can make time for, right? Time management. How do we make time for all of these healthy habits as a busy mom? The list goes on and on. There's also many things, sleep and spirituality, getting into topics of that, the relationship towards yourself. And my journey with holistic health, like I mentioned, started about 5 years ago. But actually, it's kind of been going on since I was in childhood, I would say. That's where my story begins, in childhood, when my physical body and my mental and emotional self was starting to get challenged at that age when we start comparing ourselves to other bodies, which is when it began for me, as I remember myself comparing my body to other girls' bodies in the swimsuits and seeing that I was much bigger than some of them. And that was also being reinforced in my home, because I remember, my sister, she was struggling with the same thing because I would see some weight loss supplements. And so that got me thinking even more so, questioning that I probably had to change and fix that about my body, because I wasn't the same as them. So, of course, when we think about something that needs to be changed within ourselves, what do we want to do? We want to fix it right away. Maybe we don't feel accepted, or we just want to fit in. So what do I do? Just like any other person who wants to lose weight or change something about their body, is I started taking action by restricting foods, not eating. And this is as young as in elementary school, throughout middle school and high school, continuing on with those patterns, over exercising on long runs, taking my sister's weight loss supplements, purging. And it continued throughout this whole time. And, my parents didn't know anything about it. And I don't blame them, because I was very good at hiding it. And this is a separate topic and episode, but I think it's so important that we have these conversations with our children about, that it's okay to have different bodies, that all bodies are different. And that's what makes us special and unique. And anything about them makes them who they are, right? maybe something about ourselves or something about them that they don't like, and are pointing out maybe a body part or something on them they just don't like and want to change it right away. Talking about having those conversations and talking about it to help them feel seen and heard. We're changing that path for them, right? So that they don't have to go down the same path we have gone through, which is something maybe you didn't get as a child going through adolescence. So after high school, my dad got diagnosed with cancer, and I realized that I wanted to go into dietetics to help him through with his cancer through nutrition. Originally wanting to go through college for a music degree and choir, I shifted because I also thought to myself, this will be a good opportunity for me to also learn more about nutrition and apply it to myself. So I went through the degree to get my dietetics degree. But that just kind of added fuel to the fire because I just learned even more about nutrition. And I was still obsessed about my body image, my weight, and trying to seek the perfect body in my head, in my mind. And so what did I do? I continued to go down this path of my dieting career, trying all the diets you can think of under the sun. And back then in the early 2000s, there was the Slim Fast diet, the Weight Watchers, Special K diet, South Beach diet, the abs diet, low carb, right? There were so many, and the list goes on and on. Up until this very day, there are so many diets, right? And what is their solution is that the result is it's going to give you that quick result, right? Ahead of time. Like, we're not thinking about what's going to be the after effect or what may we go through during. We don't think that that's going to give us issues with a disordered relationship with our food, or realize that it's unrealistic or that it's not sustainable. We're not thinking that this is going to give us tools for the long term. We're just looking for that quick results. And also, we aren't taught. It's not put out there how of a negative impact weight cycling and yo-yo dieting has on our actual health. And there's actual evidence, scientific evidence and research out there that show how it increases our risk for diabetes, cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, disordered eating habits, anxiety, depression. And that's something that's not put out there. We just have to do some of the research. And so, we go through diet after diet after diet, hoping to find the perfect one, but they actually don't fit our lifestyle. And they're too unrealistic and unsustainable that we just look on to the next one, hoping it's going to work until we get so exhausted. And that's what happened to me. I got so exhausted. I kept regaining the weight gain and regaining the weight back that finally I did something even more drastic by hiring a personal trainer to complete in a bodybuilding figure competition. I was graduating from my degree in that time, and so I was training for a competition and going through college. And since I didn't have any kids at that time, that's something I thrived on. I liked having all that control, having that meal plan, having that, training plan. That was my main focus. My relationships suffered, especially with my husband, my family and friends. That my main focus, all that I thought about and cared about, literally was just training for that competition, getting that perfect body, and getting my degree. So, that took up a lot of my time. Hours and hours of training, hours and hours of prepping food, of cooking and weighing. It took a lot of food, and it was a lot of time, and it was exhausting. But again, that's what I thrived on because that's what I was used to and that's what I was comfortable with. And of course, seeing those results, right? And all those compliments that you get. I thought that was going to make me happy and that was going to help me feel good about myself, which was not the case. So then after going through all these competitions and competing, of course, I knew nothing about holistic health, nothing about my emotional or mental health and how that impacted me. All I was taught was about what I learned in school about physical health and nutrition and movement, and that was it. So through this process of training, a lot of things suffered, like I mentioned, around my health. I had a lot of anxiety. I started binging more, which led me to this sort of relationship with exercise that I should burn those calories off. I had a lot of food guilt. I didn't have any self-awareness. I had a lot of sleeplessness, anxiety, missed my period. I was over-fatigued. I was overworking my body. I did not have any mind-body connection. And then finally, something clicked and I had an aha moment. And it was around the time my friend was getting married, and she invited me to Las Vegas for her bachelorette. So it's either go to that or go to compete in nationals. And it was the first time I finally did something with my friends, and where I did something that was going to bring me joy, to have fun and celebrate. And that was that first step that I took that took me out of bodybuilding. That was that first step. So this continuous cycle of being entrenched in my body and food was not healthy for me, right? Some people, you would tell me, you're so disciplined, Marissa, you're always eating healthy and you bring your food everywhere and you never miss a workout and this and that. But again, it was not healthy for me and for my health, my mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health. And for some people, in some ways it is, because it's their lifestyle and they see bodybuilding as an art, right? Which it is. It can be an art because you're sculpting, you're crafting, you're creating a body. But for me, it hurt me all around. And it really took me some time and some lessons to heal from all of these things that have led me up until this point, and to taking a whole person, holistic approach to health. So I'd like to share my experience into what's helped me maintain healthy habits as a mom, again, based off of all these changes that I've gone through in my life. And you'll also hear from other moms sharing their experience as well as what's helping them move through their own healing and getting to be their healthy themselves by taking a holistic approach as well. So I like to continue on my second part of my story, part 2 next time, where I will share what the catalyst was to helping me shift and take a different approach to my health, and what was that next step that I took. And for now, I would like to leave you with a thought. Maybe for yourself, you start thinking about what kind of healing might you need right now. Maybe thinking about your body image, or you still trying to lose weight, or not comfortable about something about yourself that you just don't like. Why is that? Maybe think about why. When were you first told that, or thought about that you had to change something about yourself? Did you hear a comment? Was it from someone around you in your home, a friend, something you watched on TV? What was that like? And is it still bothering you till this day? That could be a sign that maybe there could be some healing to do around that. And maybe even through this healing, you also share with your children and might be able to help them as well, so they're not going down the same path that you went through. So I look forward to coming on next time and sharing my part 2 on my healing journey. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for listening.